everyone. Welcome. Robin and I are happy to be talking today with Ryan Bean. Ryan, I found you actually on the Quantum Alchemy on Facebook, the group that you're a part of. And I really like a lot of what you posted on there. It really resonated with me. So I wanted to reach out to you for that reason. So just so our viewers can become familiar with you, do you want to just give us a little background on you and when you got interested in spirituality?
Sure. I'm Ryan, as you know, and you have said, a little background on me. I am a father. I have two young girls. They are everything to me. And I am just a guy. I'm a dad, and I have navigated healing a lot of things in my family, and it's just connected me with some others that are on the same path. So I have found a nice tribe in the Quantum Alchemy Activation family. They're great people. They're very supportive. And we are just in alignment when it comes to trying to share a message of healing and awakening. So that's a little bit about me. When I first got into spirituality, that's a powerful question. To be honest, I'm not sure if I can mark a specific moment. For me, spirituality hasn't felt like a single awakening point, but rather a fractal remembrance, an emerging, retreating, spiraling back in layers across time at times. So even before I had a language for it, there was always a subtle rhythm guiding me. Sometimes I would forget or allow myself to forget. Sometimes I resisted. But over the past few years, especially as a single father navigating profound change, the presence of Source has become undeniably central. I don't feel like I became spiritual. I feel like I've been slowly remembering that I always was.
Mhm.
Every collapse, every silence, every breakthrough, each has been part of that remembering for me.
Mhm. Mhm. So was there a point specifically that you were aware that you could channel, or was that kind of also part of your life as far back as you could remember?
Well, both in a sense, because I didn't realize I was channeling until after finding Basar and listening to a lot of what Basar has to say. I don't know if you guys are familiar with
Yes.
Daralanka channeling Basar. He
Yep.
is just great, and just listening to him has helped me tune in more to myself, so to
Mhm.
speak. And Basar, Basar.
Yep. Yep. So today, I know one thing that was important to you was you wanted to have a discussion about truth and trust in today's world and how people can navigate this. What would you like to talk about regarding that?
Well, a little bit on a term that, some would refer to as fractal awakening.
Mhm.
Many of us have experienced awakening in spirals, like I mentioned before, rather than straight lines. For me, it's just trying to figure out, for myself and with others, how we can integrate this fractal nature of remembrance without collapsing into confusion or spiritual bypass.
Mhm. Mhm.
So those questions, along with, in a world saturated with noise, how do we reclaim silence as syntax, an active field of listening where truth and trust can emerge naturally rather than something we may feel like we need to chase or look for? So that's kind of where I'm at with that.
Mhm. Mhm. Athena, did you want to weigh in at all on Ryan's topic of truth and trust in today's world?
Mhm. Well, I guess it would kind of pertain maybe more to, are you talking more on a spiritual aspect of truth and trust, or are you talking more about um, life in general, as a human? In what regard are you referring to that?
Yes, life in general, mainly as a person, because, well, for me, you know, there's a lot of, there's multifaceted answers that come from me when reflecting on those questions. But I don't know, that's a really good question, because it's just navigating, bridging the dimensions. Like, for me, I don't view or perceive a true separation, and I don't always feel the most comfortable seeing separation around me. Do I am I aware of, it's perception for me, but yes,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm referring to a lot of the stuff we see going on in today's world, and a lot of the dichotomies and the back and forth between people, but also helping myself and others to recall that there's a deeper truth outside of these things, and there is no separation in this truth.
Yeah. Well, I'll just let my group channel because they're better at it than I am, to be quite honest. So I'll just pose that question to them, and we'll see what comes from that. When we refer to truth, we refer to it as a harmony, a harmonic truth. There isn't really one truth. There isn't really what you would call a societal truth or a personal truth. There's what we call a harmonic truth. And each of you are here to discover that truth within yourself. There will be a harmony that is felt. It is what is called your guidance system. The guidance system comes into alignment. It clicks in. It feels good, feels resonant when one comes into their harmonic truth. And so to be looking for a universal truth really isn't necessary. You
Yeah.
have a guidance system within you. And then as you navigate your life and as you navigate the universe as a whole, you will be able to determine whether or not you are in alignment with your source. So look at it this way. No one else really matters. Every human is sovereign, creating individually by themselves in the way that they think, in the way that they feel. And then they have this guidance system that is determining, am I closing in on the universe that I personally want to see, that I am personally adding to in the way that I am feeling it? And if I am not feeling it, if I am not aligning to it, my guidance system will kick in and I will feel not in harmony with it. I'll feel some negativity. I'll feel some opposition. I'll feel some resistance. And I will know that my universe that I have created is having trouble reaching me. So in every moment, in every second that you have felt your life, you have been received. And there has been an alternative reality that has been created by you, for you. And then in every moment, you are asked to resonate in it with harmony so that you may receive it, so that it may collapse into the present timeline or the place that you are. But you have to come into harmony, into resonance with that. You can't use something outside of yourself, like someone else's truth or a universal truth or anything else that moves you in a way that doesn't make you connective to your own truth, because the only one that you're in connection to is you. It's communicating between you and you. Are you closing in on the universe that you have created? Or are you choosing a thought or a feeling that you're blaming onto someone else in the way that they have presented themselves to you that has made you feel in a way that is not resonant, doesn't feel good when you think something, feel something towards someone else that you do not like what they are doing? But all you are doing is distancing yourself from your preference, from the way you want to see the world, from the way you created a world. Does that answer your question?
It does, very much so. Thank you, sister, for this message.
Hmm. The only person you have to worry about is you. You're sovereign. You're an individual creator. You're a powerful being through your focus on what you intend. You cannot use anything outside of yourself and intend to get what you want, because they will be robbing you of it based upon your perception or view as you look at them in any kind of distaste. So the only monitoring that needs to be done is your own, you see.
Very powerful words, sister.
Do you have anything else you want to add to that, Ryan?
I I I don't think I do at this time.
Okay. All right. So I want to ask you about a post that you had up recently, and it was titled "Stress is a Compass, Not a Curse." Could you share a little bit about what your meaning is behind that?
To recognize for me, I ask myself, or have asked myself, how we can come to recognize perceived betrayal as a sacred catalyst for growth. What shifts in perception allow us to move from fragmentation to healing, from rupture to realignment. So I'm navigating a lot of, or picking up on a lot of those messages that was just shared with me by Robin, myself in my day-to-day life, and just learning how to be in more trust of flow.
Mhm. Mhm.
Are
And
we speaking about betrayal personally or generally? What are we talking about as far as betrayal goes?
And not direct betrayal, but perceived betrayal. We can often fall into a I my personal beliefs, I don't believe they're and hmm, I don't you've helped me, sister, to unlock a new aspect of consideration and perception here.
What you were going to say, we wish you would have maybe spit it out, because what we feel was stuck in you, or what was going to come out of you, was you're not quite sure whether you believe in betrayal or not. Would that be accurate?
Yes.
Yeah. And you are absolutely correct. What is betrayal?
What is betrayal?
Betrayal is an emotion that you are choosing
A chosen emotion.
in the way that you feel that something has come to you that you do not deserve. And this is the way that it makes me feel. But yet it is your creation, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, it is your diminished view of yourself that has actually brought the betrayal to you, that you have sent out the signal of betrayal in, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. So I am the creator. There is one that is thinking they are being betrayed by something outside of self. And then there is one that knows that they have chosen betrayal to feel themselves in the lowly way that they do. That is what has actually brought the experience to them, you see. What do you think of that? Remember that we told you that every emotion that you are feeling is between you and you, has nothing to do with the betrayer, has nothing to do with the situation outside of self. Every signal that you have and that you get is you either closing in on the desired reality that you want for yourself, or you are choosing something and you are moving yourself away from it by that choice in a lower tone. So why would someone choose betrayal? Because they hold something within themselves that is equal to it. And so they send out a signal to the universe, and the universe mirrors back to them the nasty bugger, the betrayer, the one to be blamed, the one that has done something that should not be done. And all the while they expand their own negativity, their own basis of what is creative in their experience. So the only way that you can actually get exactly what you want to get in your experience is to become 100% accountable. So you have to observe yourself. Who are you blaming? Who are you opposing? Who are you marching against? Who are you doing battle with? Because you are battling with yourself, you see.
So I would like to ask, there's a lot going on right now. If you follow any posts on the Quantum Alchemy site, Raising Vibrations, watching anything astrologically related, there's a lot with lunar eclipses, solar eclipses, the way things are aligning in the stars. Have you noticed, Ryan, an uptick or a difference in your view of others in the world or in how spirituality is progressing for people?
Yes, I do feel a return to, or even potentially a realization of non-separation.
Mhm. Mhm. And Athena, how would you answer that question?
Well, first of all, we want to talk about what is separation. Separation or suffering is the belief or perception that I cannot have, be, or do something when I've already had, been, and done something. The moment that you feel, you are creating. You are being received in a moment to moment. You are a creator by every emanation that comes out of you. And so the minute that you start to contemplate the idea that you're not enough or you're not going to have enough, or that the mate that you want doesn't exist, you start to suffer. But again, it's between you and you. It's because it's in your universe. It already exists. But you are now questioning that. You are now wondering about that. And therefore, your universe starts to move away from you in its resonance or harmony with you, because the thoughts that you are harboring about not having, about not being able to create, about having to do with less than what you want to, are all distancing you from that reality that you have created by the desire to have those things. So suffering is a self-induced process when one doesn't believe that they are the God that they are, the moment-to-moment creator that they are. When you can believe that and you can perceive that, then all of the things start to happen, don't they? Things start to flow into your experience exactly in a manner and in a fashion that is satisfying to you. A lot of people think that you shouldn't want things. It's a bad thing to want things. But if you have desired something that you thought would satisfy you, the universe has served you. It has actually cultivated an experience, a circumstance, or a situation that it is waiting to flow to you to have you try it on and see whether, in fact, it does supply you with the satisfaction that you thought that it would. And then what do you humans do? You don't get it right away. So you decide to think, I don't really need that. I'm pretty spiritual. I don't really need things in order to be happy. And you try to self-bolster a little bit to do without the things, by the way, that already exist that you could be getting. You try to talk yourself out of it, but you're never really going to be satisfied doing that because you are experiencers. You are creators. You have created something that wants to flow to you, and you are to experience that. Now, you might get those things, and you might decide that those things are not exactly what you thought they would be. They don't make you feel the way that you had desired to feel, but then you will let out new desires because of that experience, and then you will continue on from there. But the people that reach a point where there's no necessity that they are needing or wanting in their life, they have experienced themselves a great deal before they have arrived at that conclusion. And it is not for anyone to condemn or to judge or to decide when someone should reach that point or not. You've lived
Yeah.
many lifetimes, multiple. That's a small word really, for the amount of lifetimes and expressions that you have probably had. But there's no way to determine where someone's at on that journey, nor should we try to. Each human is a sovereign and individual creator in what it is that they desire to experience in the way that it makes them feel, you see.
Thank you.
Thank you, sister.
So another thing I read that you had shared was about the frequency of heaven and hell. And basically, I know from talking with Athena a lot, we can create that hell or that heaven right now on Earth by raising or lowering our vibration. Do you have anything you'd like to discuss or share with listeners regarding that?
Just to go back on some of the messages that Robin was just sharing with us, we choose where we are at. We have the power to choose right now and in every moment to embrace harmony, resonance, and coherence. And we must make that choice ourselves, like she said, rather than allowing or trying to choose when to make that choice for others. I just think that's such an important thing to have been brought to the surface here. It's so meaningful to me personally. And I think that that's just, she's said more than enough on that, that she summed that up greatly.
Mhm.
Well, one of the things that I personally have a lot of exchanges with people in sessions, and one of the things that come up over and over again are there's a lot of self-hatred, self-loathing, complaints about repeat behavior and the way that they're thinking and not being able to get out of certain types of thinking. And one of the things that the Athena group brought up to them is that we are moment-to-moment creators. We're not building negativity. We're not building positivity. We're building habits sometimes. When you get habitual in your thinking negatively, it just becomes a habit, and it
Yes.
can become a habit to be more positive also. But I think it was important in that exchange to understand that when we are condemning and judging and looking at behavior in ourselves that we find unbecoming, in that moment, we're recreating it. In that noticing in our what we don't like about ourselves or what's still coming up or what we think we should have already gotten better at or changed is actually, sorry, effing up our present moment. That's what's actually happening. So, one of the tools or the suggestions that was made was you don't have to love yourself. Many people don't. And if you try to make yourself appreciate your looks if you don't like them, or your weight if you don't like it, you're not going to be able to get there emotionally. You're kind of making something up, and when you're making something up, it's really not effective at getting the result that you want. But what you can do is you can look at something that you can appreciate and that you can love. And I think it's important for people to realize that love is love, and it doesn't have to be towards yourself. Sometimes you're not able to produce that. You're just in a place that you can't get that out of yourself. But there's always something that you can observe, whether it's in another person, whether it's a flower, something that smells good, a candle, that you consciously become a person that's looking to feel better, to feel good, whether it's directed at you or not. I think sometimes people are trying to force something onto themselves that they just don't have presently. And I think it's important to know that you're not expected to do that, that you are communicating that you're not happy where you are right now. And so pretending you're happy isn't really the correct way to communicate, is it? So what I've learned is I let myself have my stinky feelings and my emotions. And I try to think about my grandkids a lot because that just brings me really into a love state, a very connective state. And I think that's one of the biggest messages that I would offer people as opposed to being a positive thinker. Just try to be a person that's looking for something that brings out a love feeling, whether it's admiration, gratitude, appreciation, whatever it is, whatever brings you that feeling, that's enough. That's connective. That sometimes we don't have it for ourselves, and people are trying desperately to get it for themselves, and it almost produces more negativity because they're in that spot trying to force a pill down their throat sideways that they're not ready to swallow. And then inadvertently, when you're in that love state long enough, whether it's for someone else or another thing or whatever you happen to use as your focus, it does start to come to you. It does start to filter in and change your view of yourself and the perceptions that you're holding. And that's all I have to say about that, because I do run into that with people now and then. It's pretty hard when somebody's really sick or something's really going on physically that is keeping them from living a productive life or doing the things they want, to say, I have to be happy about this. No, you don't. You're not. You're consistently letting your universe know this is not okay. This is not the way that I want to feel. And I'm not saying you want to be a dweller in that, but trying to force that out doesn't necessarily work either.
Mhm. Yep. Ryan, so what is one thing, if you wanted listeners to hear something that you think would be really important for people living right now today, um, maybe to improve their life or something for them to consider, what would you want to tell them?
I would want to tell them to embrace that love and that community and to just know that there are people out there that are on that same wavelength. They can understand and connect with you. and not to be afraid to share who you are and your authenticity, and to know that you've got a message for somebody that needs to have it just like they have it for you.
Mhm.
I'd like to hear a little bit about your, I think what I would describe it as automatic writing, because it's something that Heidi and her husband Paco really enjoyed and have shared some of it with me. So I'd really like you to share maybe with the audience and with us how that feels, where that's coming from, how you got started on that, maybe a little more information about what it is that you actually do on your page.
I'm just on my page, I'm just trying to share a message of connection, of a safe space, because not all of us always do have that feeling of safety. Even when we do stand in a place where we are rooted in faith and rooted in love, we can often and do often fall into, things that are happening around us. And we put more into that than ourselves or the other people around us that may really need to and may even be depending on feeling that connection and that guidance. And for me, it's just I've cataloged, and for me, it started with really, as I was starting my healing journey, I would look back at my memories from like the year before, and this is where I was at then. And I just always seem to have found alignment with where I was at the following year looking back. And so for me, it kind of started as like a journaling thing, and I helped myself heal in this. And the more that I connected socially with other people, because I have gone through phases where I have been antisocial in my life or withdrawn, as I continued to connect with people and give other people a space to feel seen, heard, comfortable, and connected, and to share with people that I knew that I have gone from feeling that way into healing and recognition that there is things out there for all of us. My automatic writing, I do a lot of introspection, and sometimes it's just where I'm at and what flows comes up. And it's just sharing my message, not just with others around me, but with myself, so I can remember, because sometimes I can allow myself to forget or get caught up in whatever. So I just like to have a place to be able to look back and just appreciate my journey and give other people a place to journey with me and maybe reflect on theirs as well.
Yeah, I was just kind of
Mhm.
curious how that flowed for you because when I have automatic writing and the channeling started first for me, the automatic writing came later. And years ago, I used to think, oh, I'm going to write a book, and I think I don't even know what topic, and I didn't even really like writing. And when I would try to do it, it didn't come out very well. And then after the channeling started, the writing just kind of came and it was effortless and there was no sometimes it would be inspired. It might happen because of a life experience that someone I was in interaction with was having, and it would spur maybe a response or an answer. But sometimes I can just sit down and say, I need a transmission today, and I'll get
Yes.
one, you know,
Yes.
and it'll be quite remarkable, like actually what will come out, and I'll really have no doubt that I didn't do it, because I had no thought of really what the topic was, and I
Sure.
find that really, really amazing. In fact, I wrote my book called Choose My Universe. And I didn't write any of it. Like it all just came through channel. It was just one chapter after another effortlessly, flowing onto the paper. And so I just had kind of wondered if that's how you experienced it, or if it came more with you presenting yourself with a topic, or if it just more of an inspired thing that just happens kind of on its own.
D, all of the above. I mean, that's in such resonance with, I mean, maybe a little different on like the timing of how it happened for me. For me, when I have allowed myself the time to write and made that time, it has always kind of come for me. I just haven't always made that time for myself. And at times when I have gone in to periods where, well, it's not really even just around me. I find coherence in seeing the way that my writing affects and helps others. And, teaching my daughters writing has been a way for me to communicate with people that I'm not often able to communicate with verbally. I have some like verbal communication blocks sometimes that I navigate, so
Yeah. It's not exactly what you two are discussing, but the act of journaling, like I occasionally will keep a journal, or I will look on, like, I know the other day I was watching, it was beginning of March, I was watching something Joe Dispenza had on YouTube, and he was talking about it being a portal day, and to write down your intentions. And so I did that, and I've done that in the past. And when I go back, like you were saying, Ryan, when I go back and I look at things that I've written a year or 2 years ago, I'm always amazed at how so much of it has come to reality without
yes.
even noticing it. And it's like, wow, I got 4 or 6 of those things done already, and I didn't even remember doing them. So that is a very powerful thing to journal and write down, whether it be self-improvement things, or goals that you want, or things that you're looking to get in your life. It's a powerful way to do it.
Yeah, and it's true. I can remember before becoming a channel, sometimes you're afraid to ask for things because if they don't come true, it almost seems like, you didn't do a very good job, or you're afraid that you're going to be foolish for asking. I don't know if that makes any sense to either of you, but I always remember, before I became a channel, I knew it was going to happen, but I never said anything, not even to my husband, because I thought I look so foolish if that doesn't happen. Why would I tell someone that I know something that I don't know how I know it? And then in fact, it did happen, but I kind of equating that to the same thing. There are times when even now things will come to me that I think are going to happen, but I hesitate to publicly say them. No, I'm not a predictor of the future. That's not what I'm saying. But I mean for myself, like I might know something that's going to happen in the way that maybe my work's going to go, or the way that I'm going to feel. But I feel like I can't say it because I'm not trusting enough all the time. And becoming a channel is so much about trust. And Heidi, I know that for you probably struggle with that once in a while too. It's about like realizing, so what do people think when you become a channel, that you're different, that you're nicer or better, or you're not? None of that's true. So I can wipe that off the list as one of the prerequisites. And it really boils down to a lot of trust and a lot of believability in yourself. And for whatever reason, we've all been embedded. And I think this is the reason that everybody should be channeling, and everybody could be channeling. But it's because there's some false beliefs, even in metaphysics, that are telling people that you have to be a certain way, you have to do certain practice, you have to like everything you don't like, and you have to present yourself in a way that others think you're, a good person, whatever it is that makes you qualified for something like this. But, I guess that what I'm trying to say is I just want to say to everybody, or anybody that happens to listen to this recording, that being perfect is not a prerequisite to becoming a channel. Trust is, believability, knowing, and just really, and also accepting the way that it comes to you. Don't think that you're the designer of it, or that you have to look like someone else or be like someone else. It's going to come to you in a very individualistic way that actually satisfies you. I couldn't be more satisfied when I'm channeling Athena, because I'm not really an extra outgoing, to the point kind of person all the time. I'm a little one that could hide some of my feelings and not really say exactly what's on my mind, maybe to my husband, but not to everybody else. And so, in that moment, to have that happen is very satisfying. It's like, this is what it feels like to not have the boundaries or the bars around yourself in the way that you think you have to be in order for people to like you. So I mean, I don't know if that meant anything to anybody, but I think it's important just to put that out there, and even to you, Heidi, to really like to trust in what it is that's gifted to you, and not believe, because this is a magical, joking, amazing universe that we're a part of. It really likes to shock you and surprise you. And that's what it's been for me. This whole journey has been, and there's definitely like high highs and low lows. I mean, people either love me or hate me. Not that many haters, I shouldn't say that, but every once in a while I'll get someone that's maybe critical, and it goes hard. It's very hard to, because I'm a softer person, to deal with that. And then I think, well, why am I putting myself in this position? I don't really have to. I'm 65 years old. I don't need to do this. I don't have to. But then I get to feel myself in those ways when that happens once in a while. So, it's just been quite a journey, I have to say. And, it keeps expanding. Recently, I started speaking light language. That's a whole nother level of exposure. I have not done a lot of it online. Maybe it'll come out today. We'll see. I do a lot of it with clients, and I do it in my Kundalini group activations and in my individual activations. And it's a real stimulant to people's field, because it's like being the difference between being on Wi-Fi and being directly plugged into the unit. That's how it feels. I actually like it better than channeling. It is a form of channeling. So I get the transmission in light language, and then I get an immediate knowing or a download afterwards what they are communicating through that light language. I'm told that we're all going to speak it eventually, and we will all understand ourselves telepathically. That's the next phase, or the next evolution that's coming. There won't be any more misunderstanding or people offending other people. There'll just be this knowingness, this real understanding of exactly what people are trying to say and where they're coming from, without any of our own garbage mixed in with it. That's what telepathy actually provides. And at the level that telepathy actually exists, there are no negative tone emotions at that level of consciousness. So when you're communicating telepathically, nobody's going to get angry. Nobody's going to choose jealousy or rage or any of those other emotions, because they don't exist at the vibration that telepathy exists at. So that's where that open, expansive communication is going to come from. That people will make different choices in the way that they feel when they're communicating. It will no longer move through our own emotional basis, which causes us to be triggered. That just won't exist in the future.
Yeah, that's interesting. Ryan, did you have a question that you would like to ask Athena?
I mean, honestly, I didn't expect it, but I mean, I'm not going to say I didn't expect it, but I'm pleasantly surprised by some of my questions are answered before I have the chance to pose them here. So,
what happens to me a lot in sessions, it's really quite funny. The people will come with a big long list and say, okay, you got that one, got that one, got that one, got that one. And I don't really have any awareness of it when I'm channeling.
it's such a beautiful thing.
Just kind of happens naturally. But I'm just really grateful for it. And I really would like to make this interview about you. I'm sorry, it seems as though I'm doing a lot of the talking, and I didn't mean to have that happen. Because I know that Heidi invited you on here for a very specific reason. And so I really,
No,
really,
that's totally fine. And I do appreciate just having the chance to share in this moment and in this sacred space with you. Where I feel most called moving forward is to anchor what's been remembered, to ground multidimensional insight into practical embodied presence, and not just for everybody around me, but for me and my family as well. And I'm committed to living as a vessel for coherence, honoring truth, tending to trust, and allowing the wisdom, or lack thereof, I carry to ripple outward in alignment with those who resonate.
Mhm. Yeah, well, I think you're doing that. Like I said, I love reading, through the posts on quantum alchemy. I don't know if it's just me or if there are a lot of others that way, but I find that I'm often drawn to your posts and the things that you share. So I definitely think that the written messages that you're putting out are being received well in the world.
how did you find his site? I'm just curious. How did you
Well,
So,
actually, my husband found it. Like, how you get stalked online. So, because we are both spiritual thinking, and I follow a site called Raising Vibrations on Facebook, which is awesome, by the way, if anybody's ever interested. I'm sorry, I have a little fly in here. And so typically suggestions will come up, and the Quantum Alchemy site came up as a suggestion to my husband. He loved it, started following it, and then I started following it, and also loved it. So I look forward to, and the one thing I really like specifically about that site is because there are so many contributors, there's a lot of content daily. Where with my Raising Vibrations one, you might get one a day or one every couple of days. And I just am excited when a new post comes out. But with the Quantum Alchemy site, you're getting multiple posts a day, which is really nice. And like you said, Ryan, if you want, if you're someone who just needs some upliftment or needs some messages to kind of keep you on your journey, it's a great group, because you're constantly seeing activity on there that you can get information about.
so do you go on there live, or do you just do posting?
I just do mostly writing and posting. I've had a pretty busy couple of weeks these past few weeks, so I haven't been as active, and I'm restructuring some stuff in my personal life as well. Uh, but for me, it's just a lot of my writing and just sharing with the other people running the group, and to just give people a voice, a place where they can speak, where they can be heard, where they can feel seen. And it's important to me. So that's pretty much what I do there. I've been navigating potentially, doing some lives and some other stuff with a friend. Um, but I've got a lot on my plate right now as a single father, so my priority right now is to my girls, and we're homeschooling and stuff. So it's just restructuring my time and allowing things to flow naturally. I'm not going to go out of my way to try to force anything into any sort of coherence. I'm going to trust that where I am next is where I am supposed to be. And I feel strength coming from trusting in that. So I derive most of my strength from that thought. So,
Yeah. So, yeah, I once in a while I'm hearing something when something's going on, but I think it would be a really good idea for you to do things live, to actually get yourself out there, talking in your own voice. So I'm going to let a little bit of the light language come through for a moment. I don't generally do this publicly, but I think it's a good time to allow that. Mm. Ama nereye kadar şikayet yani tecrübe teradı bu der ki tira şikayet tinat kadar şikayet ya apa nitya tira şikayet tira kanitra. What she is saying is that it would be a wonderful idea for you to allow to see the face behind the material that you are uploading or putting on your website. There's a great humbleness, a sweetness almost, that is within you that would be very well received, something that would boost you or build you up. She's saying your confidence is a little shaky sometimes. You are a little apprehensive to go that direction. People will eat that up. They will love that. Yeah. You will find your voice will open. You will find your voice will strengthen. As you start to own your power and start to put your face upon the material that you are distributing or putting out, you see. Not trying to put any pressure on you or anything. Who's giving us this information? Why, you are, you see.
thank you, sister.
I
I'm
would I would also just like to add to that. I'm in complete agreement if it's comfortable for you, because your words and the things you put out are so powerful. And I do also get that sense of, you having a little bit of more and I would be the same way until I've been doing this now for a while, insecurity about being in view, in the public way. And I think if you put yourself out there like that, like Athena said, or like, I'm sorry, the light language said, that it would be well received, because there are so many people that struggle with confidence and putting themselves out there. And for someone to see, you know, the power of the messages that you have with the persona that you are, it would give people hope that they also could.
Relatability.
Relatability, yes, yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Thank
Just
you both so much.
Just a suggestion.
Just a suggestion.
Yeah.
Well received.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Ryan. I know that this is not your everyday life to come on camera and share, but we really appreciate you doing that. Continue with your wonderful messages. If anybody wants to check out Ryan, he has the Quantum Alchemy site on Facebook, and also Ryan Bean on Facebook. He posts on his own as well. So if anybody's interested in following any of that information, check that out. And thank you again, Ryan, for coming on. We really appreciated you doing that and talking with you.
Sure. I just wanted to say quick before I go, I can also be found at the Alchemist Tribe, Transforming Your Mindset on Facebook, and Safe to Talk to consulting service. I just wanted to say thank you to you both for holding this sacred mirror. I trust that what wants to be revealed through this conversation will ripple out in unseen ways, and that each of us is carrying a unique thread of the greater weaving. I'm honored to have shared this resonance with you both today.
Thank you. Heidi, maybe you want to tell our listeners what we have on our website, what's coming up, so that
Oh,
they
yes, yes. Yeah. So our website is athenaintruth.com. We have a number of courses on there. We have a member Q&A people can join up for. We do Kundalini group activations. We were doing them every other month, but now we're starting to try to do them monthly. The April 17th date is full. I believe we've opened May 15th. And we also have a June date. It's on the website. I don't know it off the top of my head right now, but for sure May 15th and again a June date is going to be available if anybody's interested. We also have athenauniverse.com, where there's a free program, and there's a couple of other programs on there, depending on what you're looking for, that listeners can sign up for on there as well.
Yeah, and I do a lot of private sessions, and I do group Kundalini activations with Heidi. I do individual activations with clients. And there's lots of stuff on there. Just take a look.
Yeah. And obviously, this is another thing I keep missing to do, so I'm going to do it now. If you've enjoyed this video or you enjoy our channel, please like us and subscribe. Thank you.
Thank you both.